Feeling pretty good. Oh, it's so nice to be outside. Backpacks are good, actually. I think it's sitting.
We meet on the platform at Berwick. The three of us giddy, backpacks full, boots laced, layered, shiny. Our conversation surging, branching off, turning back on itself. So much to catch up on, and there is time. We have 4 days and 80 miles ahead of us. Before we have even made it to the coastal path, we stop to strip off layers and adjust our bags accordingly. Then we're out of town, past the lighthouse and alongside the sea. We tumble over one another with questions about a new partner, a broken heart, a family spat, a job opportunity. We know the headlines already, but it's only being together like this that we can drink in the delicious detail of each other's lives.
3 is a good number for that.
There's something about the act of walking that makes us able to speak more freely. It's the looking forwards and talking into wide open space, not overthinking body language or every facial expression. The path rolls down off the crest of the cliff and meets the shore. The tide's out, the perfect stop for our first tea break, a spot of sun cream and a biscuit. One of us is going through a bad situation. Though she's been wrestling with it for a year, she only revealed it to me a few weeks ago. I asked what she was going to do now. I want to walk. I just want to walk myself through it. The route pulls us away from the lip of the land slightly, putting undulating grassy terrain between us and the sea. We meet a dog walker here, and when she asks, are only too eager to tell her where we're going. Belford tonight and Morpeth by Monday. That's a fair way, she says, but without the incredulity of London friends when they'd inquired about my Easter plans. This elderly woman with her scrappy dogs and well-worn coat could probably beat us there if she'd a mind to.
Have a lovely day.
Before long, our route draws into the coast again, giving us a clear view of Holy Island. The tide is coming in fast. Within the hour, the sea has consumed the causeway. The last cars tear across to avoid being trapped on the wrong side. Slate-coloured clouds gather over the island, sending a rainbow down directly onto its castle. There's magic in the atmosphere. We retrace the steps of the Holy Island pilgrims, first on St Cuthbert's Way, and then onto St Oswald's Way, taking us deeper inland.
Hello, we're at Fenham Hill. It's going to take us 30 seconds to cross. Okay, thank you.
The light fades gradually, and the sky turns orange-purple over the sea behind us. A gentle rain ambles over, and for the first time we have cause to throw on waterproofs and put protective layers over our backpacks. As darkness descends, so do we, down the hill to Belford and a hearty pub dinner.
The idea that I can just be out here and actually all I need to focus on is being with you two and getting from A to B, eating, sleeping, is incredibly freeing.
So this is a speedwell, and it was supposed to give
Good night's sleep.
Very
Very
good night's sleep.
Very good stretching. Thank you, Cressida.
Yes.
We'd stretched out before bed, and we do it again this morning, limbering up what will be the longest day on our feet. 21 miles from Belford to Alnwick.
Everything feels used, but in a hopefully a good way.
In your body or your backpack?
Both.
We're more tuned into the natural world today. Our initial excitement has deepened into wonder, and we pause frequently to remark on the landscape, note the colour of the fungus, or share botanical insights. See those nettles? The white flowers on the stem tell you it's the kind with no sting. Then it gets muddy. We have to pick our way through the saturated fields slowly to avoid sinking up to our shins, since we're still clean enough for that to be a concern. It's also the weight of the backpacks. Lean too far or unexpectedly and you'll overbalance, fall, and we can't afford injury. It's a welcome relief when we hit the next village. Liquid morale. Although the main source of energy is the conversation. We've talked non-stop. No topic is too big or small. Childhood holidays, dream meals, nasty breakups, Jacobean history. What makes a good walking boot? It's the rope that we pull one another along with, taking turns to lead or be lifted.
You seem lighter today.
I mean in spirits, less weighed down by everything else she's contending with. It's so true that she doesn't take my meaning and responds by talking about layers and terrain. But she gives me my answer later.
I think there's something about feeling grounded at moments where your life feels out of your control and chaotic and you can't see how to fix it. You're literally moving yourself forwards.
It is very literal. We went through that muddy patch earlier.
Yes.
Which is how you describe something in your life, right? Or you could say,
yeah,
occasionally you lose the path, or the path appears before you. Yeah.
She's right. Effortlessly wise, that one.
The idea of doing a much longer walk, there's also this sense of proving to myself that I can do it, and along the way learning more about my body, how I overcome something.
Inner strength.
Yeah.
We have literal obstacles to overcome now. A mass of fallen trees blocking our way. We scramble over, under, trying to stay close to the path, but it's impossible. The lattice of bark and branches is too dense. So we look at the map and plot a different course. It happens. But this, along with the muddy path this morning, mean we're not as far along as we'd hoped. We have tarmacked country lanes underfoot now, which are more reliable, but somehow accentuate every ache and sore that has been sneakily developing. We make several pauses to adjust bags, put on more plasters and relace boots. At 4:30 we are still 6 miles from Alnwick, feeling every step. So it feels like divine intervention when around the next corner we happen upon a tea shop. Warmed and sugar-fueled, we are rewarded further with a spectacular sunset. The clouds spun into pink and purple candy floss before the sun washes everything tangerine. It's fully dark by the time we march into Alnwick, and the castle is lit up majestically against the deep blue dusk. We are over halfway.
This one. You can't go down here. And he pointed across the field. He went, "You see that deer? What you want to do is you turn left at the deer."
We've lost an hour of sleep to daylight saving, but have managed to get out on time and buoyantly. There's a stretch along an old railway line, with the trees on either side reaching towards each other. Having such a changeable landscape each day has been a joy, making each moment distinctive and easier to relish. The fields and barns are full of newborn lambs and fluffy ewes still wearing their winter coats.
It takes about 40 minutes to shear a sheep.
She knows this because every year as a child she would go up to a tiny village in Scotland and her family would help with whatever needed doing, be it fleece rolling or sheep shearing.
How you do it is you kind of have them on one side and you cut away at the wool, like line by line, and then when you get to over halfway, you then flip the sheep over and then cut the other half, and then the sheep runs away. And my dad's trademark was never quite cutting over the halfway mark. So at the point where he would let the sheep roam free, it would then have a wonderful Mohican down its back. And it was too late. There was no catching that sheep for the next year. So it was.
We have naturally drifted into sharing childhood memories. They are at once urgent, charged declarations of how we came to be who we are. And at the same time, they're random, selected for their power to generate a fresh memory from someone else, to keep us talking, listening, moving. Later, when I recall these conversations, I will be able to clearly visualise the landscape around us at each moment, like our words have fastened to the grasses and the branches and fence posts.
You're deep in somebody else's psyche. You're talking about.
We challenge ourselves to climb to the top of another hill before lunch, and our effort is recompensed with a spectacular view as we eat. On all sides, a patchwork quilt of lush green fields, sewn together by hedgerows and thickets. We take out the paper map now, spread out over all 6 knees, point out Percywood, Old Swarland, Newton on the Moor, Warpahor. Onwards to Rothbury then, through an active airfield, across more muddy farmland with equine gatekeepers, changing course when the route suggested crossing a stream which had swelled to a torrent in spring rain. We end the day's walk as we began, on an old railway line, This time it's rock faces on either side, shaggy with moss. Rothbury is bronzed in evening sun when we finally reach it. The sky morphs to a bruised black purple, and it smells like rain.
I was also like, this is definitely the longest walk I've done.
It pours. At least we feel vindicated for bringing strong waterproofs. We start the day with our steepest climb yet, and as pretty Rothbury falls away, we discover a more dramatic landscape. Here at last is the rugged orange and brown heather I associate with Northumberland. It sweeps across the tops of the long broad hills like wildfire and crackles as we stomp through it. Coupled with the dark skies and pelting rain, it feels truly wild up here. Like the end of the world, or the start of something.
I just like not knowing how much I'll keep changing. That's really interesting. Like new experiences, new things, new things about. I don't think I've ever had, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. So who knows? It doesn't give me any stress or anxiety.
No.
All three of us are 31, so all being well, about a third of the way through our lives. If I'd had to guess when we'd met where we'd be now, I'd have been wildly wrong. And I'd certainly never have placed us 70 miles down in a muddy field near to, where are we now? Long Horsley.
Oh, if I were 16, if I could see myself now, how impressed I would be of myself, how much I would want to be myself. And I suppose I have this idea, this belief in myself that the trajectory will only continue thus. And so looking ahead, I don't know what that's going to look like, but I think that 31-year-old me is going to be blown away by what 60-year-old me has achieved.
The rain is seeping through the cracks. Our gloves are wet, chilling our hands. The water is picking at the plasters on our heels. The fields and footpaths are so saturated with water now that we have to shimmy along fences to avoid wading through boot-submerging sludge. The most unpleasant stretch is just after lunch, when the muddy field has been ploughed with deep ruts, so we have to leap from mound to mound for over half an hour. Breathless, hearts hammering, astonishingly still laughing. But our resident botanist is still eagle-eyed. As we come out of a stretch of woodland, she audibly gasps and kneels down to point out a delicate green plant with green flowers growing close to the base of a tree. Its common name is Town Hall Clock, and it has not been recorded in this spot before, and not in this area since 2018. But it's waited here for us to boost our spirits in the drizzle.
I don't know, I don't think so. I think I've always been here. It's just about just listening to myself more, I suppose, and I think it's in my gut, which I guess I've always known was right, and trusting in that more, and knowing that I do have the answers, like the values that I hold.
The end is nearly in sight. It's 7 p.m. and our train leaves Morpeth station in exactly 1 hour. We do some quick calculations. From here, it will take 58 minutes to get to the station on foot. Determined to finish what we started, we pick up the pace and immediately hit the biggest hurdle yet. It's a steep drop down a muddy bank. The ground slithers underfoot and we cling to branches all the way down in an attempt to stay upright. At the bottom, the route crosses a stream. After a full day of rain, it's fierce and brown, the bottom invisible. Should we turn back and look for a different route? There isn't time. So we lock hands and wade through it. Now, soaked to the knees, we scramble up the other side of the bank on all fours. Then we're on solid road. With this final, inexplicable burst of energy, we sail into Morpeth station 15 minutes ahead of the train. There's no welcome party, not even another passenger to tell what we've just achieved. But there is a larger map painted on the wall, which shows our entire route from Berwick. Just look how far we've come. There are tears then, in the safety of a huddled group. Joy, relief, blisters. I didn't think I could do it, but now I know if I can do that. The train whistles in right on time.